I cannot change. Grant me the courage to change the things that I can. And grant me the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today. Amen. Away from me.
Why you playing with y'all, boy? Y'all boy trying to tell me to do something.
You close to the edge, just don't move. My brother said his lawyer just gave him some bad news. Police found the drugs that were stashed in the bathroom. Not only that, but his court date approaching us fast too. So tell me what to do. Lord, you only seek the truth. If you want to bear fruit, then he needs to abide in you. If you seek transformation, it happens in solitude. Since I never had a shot, God threw me the alley-oop. I believe I can fly. Let me mingle with the angels. Heaven's in my peripheral, I see it from an angle.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's your boy, Bro Troy.
Bro Smith.
Bro Kurt.
And we are
The Bro Code.
Bro Code TV show was created to share unique and courageous stories that amplify the voices of others, speak life into our community, and celebrate the humane side of humanity. The code is a set of standards or values a person lives by. The code sets the tone for how we treat all people, starting with ourselves. The code matures into the Bro Code when we're fortunate enough to find men that share in those same values and standards. Tonight's show is sponsored by Papa Murphy's Pizza. Make sure to go to papamurphys.com and sign up for My Slice Rewards to be in the know for exclusive deals, sneak peeks, and savings for the Papa Murphy's My Slice Rewards family. Fellas, what's happening, man? How y'all feeling?
Really good.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
Oh,
Yeah, it was somewhere new, somewhere different.
It's
That's
exciting.
the exciting part about
It
the Bro
is.
Code show. You never know what you're going to get, right? It's like a box of chocolates, man. So, rightly and fittingly so, we always start the show off with something unique. And tonight we have a special guest, so we're going to make the question kind of fit towards that. So tonight's question is, what is your favorite cop, either TV show or movie? And you can go across all genres. So I don't mind starting this off, but you got something?
I mean, I got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, as a child, I was always a fan of Axel Foley and Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop.
You know, as an adult,
Eddie Murphy, right?
That's right. As an adult, the Bad Boys series, 1 and 2, you could forget the third one.
Yeah.
And the fourth.
Okay. So Beverly Hills Cop, Bad Boy series, that's a good one. You can never go wrong with any one of those. So I could dig that. What about yourself, Kurt?
Ooh, see, I liked both of those. I'm gonna go with Training Day too. I'm gonna go with Training Day, and I'm also go with. Maybe I'll stick with just Training Day.
I can dig that. And
No,
so,
American Gangster, Richie. You know what I liked about Richie? He was chasing Frank Lucas. And you remember when he found that $1 million in the trunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave it back.
Did.
You remember that?
He
But like he was a different level of cop in New
was.
York, so respect it.
And it was truth.
And it was
That's
true.
true.
Yeah.
Right?
It was truth to that,
Yeah,
right? So it's
yeah.
good to shine that light, maybe for.
Somebody who's righteous, right?
Yeah, indeed.
$1 million in the trunk.
Well, as a kid, I always loved RoboCop. I did, man. There was just something about it, man. I was, 9 years old, 89,
Yeah.
right? I agree with you with Training Day because I turned 21, kind of like rites of passage. You know,
Yeah.
King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
Yeah.
But most recently, Den of Thieves. Can't go wrong with Baby O'Shea, right?
Yeah.
O'Shea Jr., right? And 50. And 50's really come up, man. In his earlier stages, they bashed him a whole lot about his acting, man. I really believe that he is another level of gentleman that can work on all levels, man. He's shown his game and evolution, and yeah, I kind of like that one, man,
Yeah.
for sure.
Did Denzel get an Oscar for American Gangster? I know he
I
did.
think he was up
he got one
against
for Training Day.
Jamie. I think he was up against Muhammad Ali. I don't know. I think he was up against something else and didn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But yeah, you would assume such.
I mean,
No, he got one for Training Day.
He definitely got one for
He didn't get
Training
one
Day.
for American Gangster.
Okay.
No. King Kong had something.
He had to
on
pay.
it.
He had to play a dirty cop to get an Oscar. Is
Yeah,
that
he
what-
did.
oh,
They talked about that too.
Come on, man.
Yeah, but I
More like
digress.
that. It's all good.
I
It's all
digress.
good. It's
Well,
all
fellas, we always talk about nothing great happens alone, right? And tonight is no different. This young lady goes by many names, but she's the chief of police of Raleigh. Her name is Stella Patterson. How you doing, Miss Patterson? Come on to the show. Come to the Bro Code
Thank you,
show.
gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
My
round of
pleasure,
applause,
my
all that
honor
good stuff.
to be
How you doing this
here.
evening?
I am doing well.
Good,
I'm excited
good.
to be here to spend a little bit of time with you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
The Bro Code.
That's it, right?
Love
You
that.
sitting with
That's
the Bro Code.
beautiful.
We in here.
Yeah.
So we talked about favorite cop shows. We talked about favorite movies. Do you have one of your own?
Yeah, absolutely, I do. As y'all were talking about your childhood and then growing up and then
Yeah.
an adult. For me, as a teenager growing up, 21 Jump Street. That was my show right
The original.
there. Loved it.
Yeah,
Yes.
the
Watched
original.
every episode. Holly Robinson Peete.
Uh-oh.
She was,
That's
and I think it was just Holly Robinson at the time.
Yes,
At the time. I
That's
loved
right.
her.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
wonderful actress,
Still
a
do.
great woman.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. But into adulthood, I have to say that Law and Order SVU is my favorite. It's the most, being a
gavel.
cop, being a cop, it's the most realistic
It's
option.
realistic.
I
It is
Really?
realistic.
Okay.
So you never transitioned to CSI? You stuck with the Law and Order?
Never liked CSI
Yeah.
because CSI is too much. I don't think it's realistic. I
Yeah.
think it's too much in the clouds.
Ice
But-
Cube is that one, right?
No,
Ice-T.
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 Get your
Yes,
ices right.
Ice-T.
What are you doing, man?
Yeah, and he plays that role to a T. I
He
really
does.
enjoy
He
him.
does. He's matured into every role that he's done. I got to give you that. Well, Chief, it's great to have you, but for those that are listening, our viewers, all of those good things, may not know who you are. So, in 90 seconds or less, run us your resume.
Yeah, I think I can do it in 90 seconds or less.
Okay.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is Stella Patterson. I am the Chief of Police for the Raleigh Police Department. Been in the position now probably about going on 6 months. Loving it so far. Busy, but a good job so far. Just a little bit about myself. So, I spent 25 years being a police officer in Charlotte, North Carolina. Came up through the ranks there in Charlotte, did different jobs within the police department, starting from a young cop on the street, working the beat, working my way up to being a trainer at the academy. Then I got promoted, several promotions, doing different things throughout the department. Spent a lot of time working in our internal affairs section, where we really hold our officers accountable. And in addition to that, just being back on patrol, working the streets, working in the community. That's my passion. That's the things that I love to do. Aside from being in policing, I was born in Panama, lived in California. That's where we call home. Transitioned. My dad was in the military. Transitioned then to policing, where I was in Charlotte for 25 years.
Wow, okay, now it kind of makes sense, because I remember one time you had a San Francisco 49ers hat on.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about
You just had to, right?
I'm still licking my wounds.
You all had to, yeah.
He's a Cowboys fan.
I'm not going to say what I like.
I knew there was going to be a cowboy in the house. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that victory 3 weeks ago against the Cowboys.
Indeed. Well, I'm curious, Chief, we talked about movies, but is there like a secret passion? Is there something that most people wouldn't know that you enjoy?
Wow. I don't know. I think I'm a little bit of an open book in some sense. People kind of know who I am. But I think I'm a typical woman. I love my passion. What I love to do, what I enjoy so much is decorating, doing house things, shopping. My husband hates that. He doesn't want to be a part of it, but that is just where that's a calm for me, being able to just go out and shop and do things, fix up my home and that kind of thing. I enjoy doing that. That is my passion.
It brings you joy. I could dig that. Well, let's chew the meat, spit out the bone. What you got, Rosemary?
I'm excited. Excited to have you here. The 30th Chief of Police of Raleigh. You have the illustrious, we'll just say, position of filling the vacant seat left by Cassandra Deck Brown.
Yes.
You've got a pretty big task in front of you, but it's one that I'm excited and know that you can handle. As I do believe that you are the right person for the job. I'm hoping you can educate our audiences a little bit better as far as who the woman behind the badge is. Now, you illustrated that you like to do some shopping, but tell us a little bit about your early childhood, your experiences, what inspired you to want to pursue law enforcement?
Sure. Thank you for that question. So I think for me, I had the privilege, I think, as a child. My father was in the military. So that afforded us the opportunity to move and live different places. So I saw a different view of the world. I just wasn't living in one part of the United States. I lived in the U.S. I was born in Panama. I lived overseas in Germany. I've been to Korea and different places. So I got to see what it means really to be an American, to be treated differently because you are not an American. Where in this country we've had to deal with like race issues and we had to deal with social issues and that kind of thing. My perspective is a little bit more broad because I have lived around the world. That's a wonderful experience. As a child, I remember very vividly living in Panama. Our home was within walking distance to the beach. I mean, that seems very idyllic when you think of it overall. But just as a child, having an experience like that, I think was just wonderful. It kind of shaped who I am as a person as well. From those experiences, it has really taught me to be a giving person, to do and to serve, and that's what really brings me a lot of joy. But I think it all comes full circle because of how I've lived, where I've lived, and the experiences I have had as a child.
5 years working in Charlotte, what attracted you to the Raleigh role?
So why Raleigh is what you're asking me. Wow. I was just in Charlotte over the weekend and I said, I miss Charlotte. That's my home. I really miss Charlotte. But Raleigh, for me, why Raleigh is really this police department. Raleigh Police Department has such a rich reputation of being a very professional, Police Department. My predecessor was very intentional about making sure the officers were well trained, making sure they were engaged with the community. I think that that is so important. When I look across all the police departments in North Carolina, I see really two that rise to the top. And no offense to any of the others, but two that really rise to the top. And that's the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, and that's the Raleigh Police Department. I think we are the leaders in the state, for everybody else the example. And so it was easy for me then to come to Raleigh because of that. I wanted to be a part of an organization that was highly professional, one that would engage the community and where we would serve our community.
What would you say is the thing that you hold most dear about working specifically for the Raleigh Police Department? What's your favorite part about the role?
What's my favorite part? So I'm new to the position, so I'm still learning. My favorite part so far has been to learn this police department. This is something new. For 25 years, I was in one place. I knew everybody. I knew the culture. I knew everything. Now I'm embarking on something completely different, something completely new in terms of learning who people are, learning their style, seeing what makes them tick. I'm challenged with trying to get this department motivated. Because after last year and everything we dealt with the social unrest, I think the department became very stagnated. People got very comfortable, and with the pandemic as well, kind of just being separated, not doing anything. And now it's like, hey guys, it's time to get back into police work now. We've got to go serve our community. And so I have this opportunity to try to use my influence to motivate people to do that. So I think that's what's different about here and what I'm looking to really explore now that I am here.
I'm gonna throw it to Bro Kirk, but I have to ask, fellas. I'm a well-traveled man as well. All of us love to travel as well. And to hear you say that now, I have to ask you, what's the dopest place you've ever been?
Wow, let's see. It's the most exciting place. I would say San Francisco.
Yeah, come on. Come, we travel the world now, Chief. Come on. I ain't been to Panama yet, so I've been to many places, but I haven't been to Panama yet.
Yeah, so let me see. Probably the most exciting place that I have been. Let me think. I'm going to have to go with Macedonia just because of my faith. Right? Because I'm a person of faith, and just to know that that's a place where Paul did 2 of his travels to that location. When I was there, I said, this is a part of like biblical history. And even when I was in the Middle East in Iraq, and people were like, hey, you're in Iraq, don't you want to go down to Babylon and visit Babylon? I said, no, I don't want no parts of Babylon. I want to stay clear of that. But being in Macedonia, just to know those were places where biblical characters were and biblical individuals, that was probably the best place.
A lot of rich history.
Yes, undoubtedly.
I can dig that. What you got, Bro?
So let's jump into first gender and then race within policing. So I think percent-wise, it's 86% male dominant.
Yes.
Right? So we're talking about 13% women in police.
Right.
Chief-wise, we're talking 3% across the country. Now, North Carolina's a little bit different. 2017, we had 6 chiefs at one time.
Amazing.
Right? And then when we start to talk about you here now in Raleigh, Garner, Fuquay, Mooresville, Durham, Cary, all led by women, mostly women of color. Can you speak to us about the change that is happening across the country? Because we're also talking Seattle, Atlanta, Oakland, right?
Yes,
New York City, Philly, Memphis, Louisville. These are all led by women. Why is there such a shift in leadership?
Wow, I think, first of all, let me say that I am just super excited to see so many women at the helm. All my sisters. I said I have a new BGM here in the Raleigh area. I have my BGM in Charlotte, but I got my BGM here.
That's Black Girl Magic.
That's it. That's it right there. So I think the shift comes because for so long, as you stated, this has been a male-dominated field. And we are starting to see this profession that, not that we have anything against males, of course, y'all are great leaders, but we're in a time now where we need to see a more compassionate police department. I think women naturally, we just provide that. We see things differently. And also to women, we are just more, I think, more reasonable in our approaches, more practical overall when it comes to looking at things across the board. And I'm seeing, with some of the previous women that we have had in positions like Chief Deck Brown and other women in policing, Kathy Lanier, who is now over security for the NFL. These are women who led, large departments, strong departments, and they proved, or they showed us that they could lead, they could be out front, and that they could make those hard decisions when they had to, but still do it in a way that brought compassion, that brought a caringness to it, And I think that we need that now in our profession more than ever. With all the challenges that we are facing and we are dealing with in policing in our world, we need to look at things through different lens. And I think as women, we bring that.
That's good. So I read something lately that says that 30% of male law enforcement have discharged their gun, where only 11% of women have. Can you speak to why that would happen? Because I think it lends into the nurture that we want to de-escalate versus something different. So can you speak to that too?
Yeah, quite naturally. And actually, having experienced it as an officer on the street, when I joined the police department, I was 5'8", 116 pounds. I remember my instructor telling me, do not lose any more weight. You cannot afford to lose any more weight. You're not going to be able to get your equipment around your belt. And so I had to deal with the reality that if I go out there and I get into a tussle, or if I'm against a man that's really large or somebody much bigger than me, I am not going to be able, I don't have the physical strength to be able to fight that person. So you're going to have to rely on something else. And you talk about de-escalation. You're going to have to rely on your interpersonal skills. You're going to have to rely on your communication skills, being able to talk people down, talk them through, calm them down in the situation. And as women, that's really what we have to do. And I think that's why you see that most women are not involved in a use of force situation. We don't resort to deadly force because we feel that there are alternatives. We can use our communication skills, our influence, to be able to get somebody into handcuffs or to be able to reason with somebody why we're going to have to arrest them or why we have to take the action that we have to take. Now, don't get me wrong. When it's time to go at it, we're going to go at it. Yeah, we'll use, whatever we have to use. But I think for the most part, we recognize very clearly that you can use time, distance, communication to really get your point across where you don't have to go hands-on with somebody necessarily.
I love it. I love it. If you're just checking in, we're right here with the Bro Code Show. We've got Chief of Police of Raleigh, North Carolina, Stella Patterson. We'll be right back.
Had a shot, God threw me the alley-oop. I believe I can fly. Let me mingle with the angels. Heaven's in my peripheral. I see it.
We'll be right back on the Bro Code Show after a brief word from our sponsors. We all we got. This show is sponsored by Papa Murphy's Take and Bake Pizza. Make sure to visit your local Papa Murphy's Pizza retail store near you and load up on fresh, made-to-order, gluten-free take and bake pizzas, desserts, and salads. Now make sure to use that mobile app for faster and to earn additional savings.
Get your love when I'm gone, when I've said my last goodbye. Who gets your love?
Yeah,
Get your love
when I'm gone.
when I'm gone.
Oh,
Who gets your love? Bella on the beat.
to leave a legacy is bottom line. Missions only designed to recoup distorted times. If every step is important, I pray you order mine. The marathon continues till I reach the borderline. The Bro Code TV show was created to amplify the voices of others and share courageous stories of community leaders, organizations, and businesses that are doing great things. Every Wednesday night at 7 p.m., you can catch Bro Troy, Bro Kirk, and Bro Smith for another courageous conversation. You can find those conversations on our YouTube channel at Bro Code TV Productions, and also our audio podcast channels, which are on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts at The Bro Code Show. Tap in to the Bro Code experience. We all we got.
Heaven's in my peripheral. I see it from an angle.
What's up, good people? We're back here on the Bro Code Show. Shout out to Justice Serve North Carolina Community Outreach Center right here at 202 North Tarboro Road and 27610 Southside. Stand up. What you got, Bro Kirk?
So we were talking earlier, and I got to know, when we talk about leadership, women are breaking barriers, not just in law enforcement, in football, basketball, coaching, all these different changes. I got to know from you, how difficult is it to step into the position of leader in a male-dominant field, and how are you successful at it?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, it is because it is male-dominated, and you have to be able to do everything the males can do. As a young recruit going through the academy, had to be able to shoot, had to be able to jump, had to be able to run, do everything that your male counterpart had to do, which shows should be, because when you're out making an arrest or you're having to chase somebody, they need to know that they can depend on you, that you're going to be able to handle your business out there. So even though it's tough, it's doable because we're seeing so many women do it. And I speak to any young women out there who are interested in this field. Do not let your size, do not let the fact that you might be shorter than everybody else dissuade you from this profession. There is room for you in this profession. We need to see all kinds of people being police officers, not just one type of police officer. So I encourage all you young ladies out there, come on, there is room for you.
Love it. That's good.
I'm curious, what do you do to de-stress? You know, especially in this climate, the pandemic, the job itself. You know, what's your woosah method?
Yes. So I like to. My health is very important to me. So to decompress, to de-stress, I'm a runner. I'm not a fast runner. I'll go ahead and admit that. But I get my miles in. I do at least 3 miles. I try to do 3 miles a day if I can. If I can't get outside, I love to run outside, outdoors. I don't like to be on a treadmill or elliptical. But when it's bad weather, I will do that. But exercise really is my medicine. That's what keeps me going. That's what helps me to calm down and de-stress.
Yeah. Good stuff. I like exercise too. Yeah, we're not going to get into that because anytime we start talking about weight loss, these guys right here, so we're not going to go there. But anyway, a thing happened, back in November of last year, when you were coming on alongside and we got a chance to connect. We talked about ways that we can come alongside and continue to show that collaboration of community. And one of the things that really happened, it was like a kid in a candy store for me. One of the movies that I always talk about is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It was one of my favorite childhood movies, and this dude got a chance to go into the Macy's Day Parade and sing and really be on TV. Now, didn't happen to that level. However, I do remember 3 miles of the Raleigh Christmas parade and having the pleasure for us and the bros, as well as 16 other adults and children, to lead that and be right alongside you. I really wanted to ask, why was that important to you? You could have asked many organizations to do that, but why YM4C? Why was that important? And we watched you too when we were there, and when it was time to go, you made sure, you said, hey, come on, you guys come up right here. And it was a proud moment. It really was. It was a really proud moment. And talk to us about that. Why was that important to you?
Yeah. First, let me say, I don't know what it is about Raleigh why y'all had the Christmas parade before Thanksgiving. But that's the Raleigh way, I suppose. So I accept that. But no, being asked to be a part of that parade was just so exhilarating to me. And I know it's not about me at all. It's about our community. It's about our young people. There was no other group that came to my mind that I could think of that I wanted there except your group, Troy. What you have done with those young men is just awesome. And it was a bold statement, being this new chief, this new person on the block, if you will, to have young men of color with me on that route and being up front there with me. It meant so much to me. And then to see their faces as we started walking, as we stepped off and we were walking, and I'm looking at them side to side, and they were just so excited, and they kept going faster and faster. I'm like, slow down, guys, we gotta slow down a little bit. We gotta stay within the pace of the parade. And then the reception that we received from the people being out there just cheering and clapping, that was memorable for me, but I know that it was moving for our young men. They need to see that and know that the world appreciates them, that the world accepts them just the way that they are. And being able to lend that to them, being able to offer that experience to them was just wonderful. I'm hoping that next year when we do it, that we will even have larger number of our young men being out there with us. It's a wonderful thing that you are doing with our young men. And to have a label, Young Men for Christ. I don't hide the fact that I'm a Christian. I don't make any apologies for that. I know that Christ has done a lot in my life, and I'm seeing what he's doing in these young men's life too. We got to continue that. Yeah,
absolutely. And we appreciate you asking us to do that.
Absolutely.
I'll never forget. You know what really got me is when we were coming down Fayetteville Street and we saw the helicopters. I was like, oh man, it just got real, baby. Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. I love it. So you used a word that we use very often. It's called community. And this thing called community is a piece of a puzzle where many hands make light work. Yes. Right? Every one of us have to play a piece in that. Outside of what we did at the parade, one of the ways that we bring community together is through our Man Up Barbershop Talk. And just to paint the pictures for those that are listening, it's an intentional way to bridge the gap between our brown and black boys and law enforcement. So the first time that they have that experience is not on the side of the road, but can now hold accountability on both ends. And that accountability piece is a big deal.
Sure.
And we do that in a very organic environment, which is the barbershop. We can talk about anything.
Yes.
You've had the pleasure of actually being a part of one of our barbershop talks, and we were talking about empathy. Right? We were talking about empathy.
Yes,
We would love to hear your thoughts on how do barbershop talks and things of that nature fit into that community policing and identifying, reducing, eliminating, and preventing problems that impact community and safety and order. And what part does that play? How does it help?
Yeah, so it's at the core of it. We have to have conversations. I think everybody gets comfortable in their silos. They just want to go off into their own world. But we have to have those very uncomfortable conversations. And when I attended that session, I remember being in the group. I just walked up into one of the groups. I just inserted myself. I just invited myself into that group. And there were some young men in there, and I says, okay, they're gonna shut down immediately because I have on this uniform.
Yeah.
Because we get that a lot with our young men. But because they were just, so confident in themselves, they just continued talking. We were talking about empathy. How do you show empathy towards your parent who's had a long day? What can you do for your parent? And to hear the responses from those young men was just pretty awesome. I mean, somebody said, we have to just pray for them. And somebody was like, draw their bath water or fix dinner or take care of my siblings and that kind of thing. And then somebody else said, well, give them a feet rub. And they were like, oh, no, we ain't doing that. We're crossing the line right there. We're not doing that. Yeah, we're just not doing that. But for them to be courageous enough to just speak very openly and to be vulnerable, really. I mean, young men don't like talking about those kinds of topics, but they did anyway. That was just a good thing to see. I think we need to do more of it. And to your point, I mean, the barbershop, that's where we go, in the salon, where we can talk about every and anything that is going on in our community, what's going on in the community next to ours, across the nation from us. We can really just have those kind of conversations. So the barbershop is a perfect setting to be able to do that.
Yeah, and we look forward to continuing to do that. So if you're just checking in, we're right here in Raleigh, North Carolina with Chief of Police of Raleigh, North Carolina, Stella Patterson, on the Bro Code Show, and we'll be right back.
Had a shot, God threw me the alley-oop. I believe I can fly. Let me mingle with the angels. Heaven's in my peripheral. I see it.
We'll be right back on the Bro Code Show after a brief word from our sponsors. We all we got. The Bros just got stronger. We've added a new member to the team, A. Ruth Proctor. The blonde bombshell herself will be hosting this new segment called The Proctor Report. This segment will share behind-the-scenes footage and engage questions from our listeners from a female point of view. Tap in to the Bro Code. Stay tuned for a new segment on the Bro Code Show called The Rehash. You'll learn more about the Bros personally and what drives them as men and community leaders. The Rehash will be available on YouTube and all audio podcast platforms every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tap in to the Bro Code.
Commitment by having our two first responder groups presented together as one unit here today.
Now comes one of Raleigh's newest leaders, Raleigh Police Chief Stella Patterson, riding with us here today. In addition to 25 years in law enforcement, she served as a member of the U.S. Army Reserve. Chief Patterson committed to building trust within the community and making Raleigh one of the safest cities in America.
Walking with Raleigh Police Chief Patterson today, two groups of youth, YM4C, Young Men for Christ, a program created to plant seeds of hope, love, respect, creativity, and self-worth. The second group consists of members of the RPD Safety Patrol program. These fifth grade student leaders from various Raleigh schools.
And they're bundled up. They're looking good this morning. Now, Chief Patterson, who is committed to working with youth groups and teaching young men and women to be responsible and respectful residents, has heard
then it needs to abide in you. If you seek transformation, it happens in solitude. Since I never had a shot, God threw me the alley-oop. I believe I can fly. Let me mingle with the angels. Heaven's in my peripheral. I see it from an angle.
We're back on the Bro Code Show with Chief of Police of Raleigh, North Carolina, Stella Patterson. What you got, Bro Smith?
I want to jump a little bit more into the community efforts and what specifically you're charging your Raleigh Police Department to work on. I recall an event in December at Tupper Memorial Baptist Church where you spoke on 4 specific community measures. One was engaging with more faith-based groups as a foundation in neighborhood safety. 2, you wanted all 800 officers to meet their neighbors in some sort of capacity. 3, RPD wanted to expand its business partnerships to where, as I understand right now, you have at least one with Advanced Auto Parts. And 4 was to admit when the Raleigh Police Department makes mistakes and be more aware of, or make more aware of their successes. So let's jump in. 1, engaging with more faith-based groups similar to ours. What are some of the things that you're either doing or hoping to get accomplished throughout 2022 and beyond?
Yes, I have always been community-oriented, always community-centric, making sure that we're connecting with our community. I think our faith-based community, that is the core, that is the foundation, particularly of our Black communities. Everybody had to go to church growing up, or everybody, whether you wanted to go or not, you had to go. But that has really shaped us, who we are as a people, and not just in the Black community, but other communities as well. So if our police department can connect with the core of the community, then we're doing a good thing. And I think it does start with our faith-based community. So that is why it is so important to me that we connect with that group of individuals.
In terms of number 2, how do you see the department reaching its neighbors and hitting the streets and getting more comfortable in those surroundings?
Yes, every police officer has to be a neighborhood officer. Everyone has to engage in community policing. And by that, I mean, even just when you're out, if an officer is out on a call for service, talking to those members of the community that they're engaging with, not just going out, taking a report and then leaving, but get to know a little bit about your neighbors, learn about what's going on in their life, what's going on in their children's lives. As the officers are riding around their patrol cars, it's okay to get out and just talk to some of the community kids, just kind of start building that rapport with our community. The public should not just see the police when something goes wrong. Yeah. That should not be your experience, your first experience with a police officer, nor getting pulled over and getting a ticket. There should be instances where we are just engaging and talking and just being people, because that's who we all are at the end of the day.
Yeah. So number 3 stands out for me, business partnerships. Now, I didn't think that police departments are out here having business partnerships. So shout out to Advanced Auto Parts for being a part of that. But you're already intentionally de-escalating. We talked about that, right? You're helping people, give them gift cards. We stop them instead of arresting and giving tickets. Can you speak to that, please?
Yeah, that's a huge project here. And an RPD, Raleigh Police Department, was specially hand-chosen and picked by Advanced Autos for this project. They came to us. They said, we have a proposition for you. Instead of writing citations to individuals for minor vehicle offenses or minor vehicle problems, how about we give you these gift cards and you pass them on to the community? And I said, that is a wonderful idea. That's a win-win all the way around for us and for the members of the community. And so they donated these gift cards. We have given them out to our officers. And when they go out, if they stop someone, or maybe they meet someone that's on a fixed income, an elderly couple or something like that, and maybe they have a tail light out, a headlight out, they can just give them the card, that individual, they go. That is just a wonderful way to show community policing. That is what community policing is all about. And from that, from them reaching out to us, I had received numerous calls from different police chiefs, different people wanting to engage with their community in a similar way. So we really have been the model here in Raleigh in starting that effort.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, I really didn't know that. I think that's awesome. You said something, Chief. We talk about presence, like being present. And that's a huge piece of what you're speaking about when we're talking about engaging the community. What is it? Familiarity breeds trust, right? When we start to become familiar with each other.
Right.
One of the greatest things that we do with the young people is we support them.
Yes.
You know, at the barbershop, you heard one of the young men say, I didn't know what this kid was going to say, but out of all the things that we've exposed him to, what did he say? Man, you sat outside with me in the cold for 2 hours and you talked to me.
Yes, that's meaningful.
And we done been to...
How many years was that?
It'll be 5 years in June, right? I mean, we went to DC, we've been everywhere.
Yeah.
And that was his feedback. You know,
That's
and that's what it's really about. You know, people want to feel supported.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and that's what it's really all about. So
Absolutely.
the last one says, you want to get the last one? Okay. The last one talks about admitting your mistakes. Now that one right there is big because you use the word vulnerability. Right? You're exposed. Right? You're allowing people in, and some people may not like what they see or hear. Right? That's perception is reality, though I may not always agree with that. That's what it is.
Sure.
Based on your reality, but nonetheless, talk to us about that. How now is that reflected in the actions of the Raleigh Police Department and wanting to show that vulnerability?
Yeah, it's tough for us.
Yeah.
As police officers, you know, you talk about admitting your wrongs. You know, we got to own it. When we do something that is not favorable to the community, when we have done when we cross the line in police departments, we do. I mean, because we're human beings like everyone else. We got to own that. It's about accountability and making sure that just as I'm holding you accountable, you're holding me accountable by the same token. So for me, it's transparency. I want to make sure as a leader that I am doing that, as a police department that we are doing that we will own when we do something wrong. Our internal affairs section, their number lights up all the time. They're busy because people do call in and complain when officers have done something improperly, and we take every one of those investigations seriously and we look into them. I think that's important. But going back to what you were saying even earlier, though, you know, being able to admit those mistakes and talking through it with people. My old chief used to always tell me, say, it's hard to hate up close. And it's very true. You can yell at me all you want across the street. You can talk bad about me by posting on social media. But when we sit down in a room, it's hard for you to hate me up close. Yeah. We can really get down to the bottom of what our differences are, and we can talk through them if we can just get in the room and have a conversation. And so I'm hoping that we'll be able to do that more and more as an agency. And if we have done something wrong or incorrectly, and that we just own it. And we move on from it as much as possible.
No, it's real easy for individuals to see a video or hear something and that be the talk of the town, but it's challenging for the good news to get out. You know, the successes that the department is seeing. What are ways in which you're kind of challenging that dynamic and making sure that you're megaphoning all the successes out to the public so that they're aware of those things?
A strong relationship with the media. I think that's key. Lots of police departments like to shy away from the media. Don't give them too much. You know, they'll twist it, they'll turn it. Yeah, they may. But we also have the opportunity to tell our story. So tout it, toot your horn, talk about how great you are. I tell my public information team all the time, put on our social media all the great things we are doing, because while people may focus on the 2% of the things we might be doing incorrectly or wrong, there's 98% of our officers that are doing the right thing. They are out there making a difference. They're going into their pockets, spending money on their own to take care of members of our community, to do very benevolent things for our community that you never hear about. Nobody ever speaks of. And they're not going to tout it because that's not why they get into the work. But I think it's my responsibility as a leader, as the head of this agency, to talk about all that great work that they are doing so that we just don't get focused on the small percentage of the bad things or the unfavorable things that might be occurring.
Love it. Yeah. And we've touched on the word community and community policing, which that works both ways.
Sure.
You know, the community has to be just as involved in making sure that their neighbors are safe, trash is off the streets, things of that nature. But what are you asking of the community? Is it more neighborhood watches, more grandmas pulling kids off the street before the street lights? Like, what is it that would help you in the work that you do?
I'm glad you asked that. That is so perfect. There's several things I'm asking the community to do. One is to be open-minded. Don't take one incident that you see on the television and let that become your world and let that become your narrative of why you hate the police so much. Be open, listen to all the facts, take in all the information before making a rash judgment. That's the first thing. Secondly, we want to engage you. We want to have a relationship with you. So give us a chance to have that relationship. Don't be afraid if you see a police officer to say something to them. We know the code in our community, right? We ain't talking to them. We need to get away from that, I think, as a society, because at the end of the day, all of us want to be safe in our communities, right? We want to know that our children can go outside and play. We want to know somebody's not going to run up in our house and not going to have a home invasion, that kind of thing. So if we work together as a community, we can achieve that. That's going to mean, though, that sometimes you got to tell me, little, Johnny down the road is doing XYZ. You can do it anonymously, but we need to know that kind of information. So we got to connect. Police and community has to connect, and we got to stay engaged.
I love it. I love it. We talked earlier about shining a light on great things. So we have a segment now called the picture segment. Now we did a little research.
All right,
Now, don't be scared. Now these are pictures that you've already shared with the world.
Yes.
But they say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now we don't need 1,000 now, Chief. But we picked 3 pictures that kind of talk about that community, that talk about that transparency that we've been talking about in this conversation. So I'm going to show you the picture. I just want to know who's in it, what you were doing, and why was it important for you to share it with the world. Tell us about this picture right here. I like this picture right
that's
here.
That's my favorite picture right there with Young Men for Christ. Yes. So that was a football clinic.
That's right.
That we held there by the Southeast YMCA. Yes. Right. And so young men from the community could come out and participate in physical activity. Love it, because I love being outdoors and I love being athletic. And what a wonderful day. It was a beautiful day. I remember, even though it was November, I think.
It was a beautiful day. Yeah.
Yes. Instead of being cold, the weather was very nice. But I loved it because the young men worked so hard that day, going through all their football drills, and they got some good positive lessons too about being men of character.
That's right.
And then we ended that evening with handing out those footballs that were signed by Christian McCaffrey.
That's right.
Yes.
I didn't give them the
They were mad about it. They was like, yo, you didn't ask one for us. I said, it's for the kids, bro.
The thing that stood out to me really quick was you showed up, you were engaged, but you were there for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we're not going to brush over. You were there for 2 hours, and you were like a part of everything that was going on. So that stood out to me. So,
Fabulous time out there. We're going to do that again, Troy.
Absolutely. We're going to start that up here in April.
Next year.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We look forward to it. How about this last one? Tell us about it.
Yes. So that was when we were the generous contribution from Papa Murphy's Pizza.
Shout out to Papa Murphy's Pizza.
Shout out.
Sponsor of the Bro Code Show.
We appreciate that. They called me and said, hey, we want to give this donation to you for Special Olympics, which is just so awesome. I have a godson that has Down syndrome, and seeing him grow up from a baby, now he's 22 years old, just seeing his journey and how strong he is and how independent he wants to be, even with his limitations. So when I see an organization really reaching out and touching the lives of young people like that, touching groups like that, it really means something to my heart. For them to come all the way out to our police station on Six Forks and present that donation to us was wonderful. So hats off to Papa Murphy's. Thank you. And my understanding is that he always contributes to the Raleigh Police Department and to Special Olympics. So we're grateful for that.
Love it. So if you're just checking in, we're right here with Chief of Police of Raleigh, North Carolina, Stella Patterson on the Bro Code Show. We'll be right back.
Had a shot, God threw me the alley-oop. I believe I can fly. Let me mingle with the angels. Heaven's in my peripheral. I see it.
We'll be right back on the Bro Code Show after a brief word from our sponsors. We all we got in the Bro Code Show.
Now we don't want to zoom past our partnerships.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that, man. Partnerships and relationships are key, right? We talk about a fist, not a finger. We can do more with more. Yeah. We can do more collectively together. So clearly, we got to shout out our sponsors, Papa Murphy's Pizza. We appreciate the relationship, continue the relationship. They understand the value of not just partnerships, but voice and amplifying that in a spirit of excellence. And we do that very well here on the Bro Code Show. For those that may want to connect with the Bro Code Show, talk about those partnerships, how we can market your brand, your idea, your vision, and your business, please connect with us at 919-714-9905 or go to @BroCodeShow on Instagram. We look forward to what's next. It's your boy, Bro Troy.
Bro Smith. Bro Kurt.
And we are the Bro Code.
We all we got.
Programming like this for our young men, we really need to do it. We need to get the word out so people know what is going on and that they will continue to support efforts like this. Yeah, so Barbershop Talk was excellent. This is a great opportunity, I feel, to really connect with our young people and to connect with the community. I was really taken aback by just the depth of conversation from our young men. I think a lot of times we just kind of discount our young people and think that they really don't know what's going on or they don't have a lot to contribute. But our conversation was so in-depth today, and my group had to talk about how they would show empathy towards their parent who might have had a bad day. And the way these young men expressed themselves themselves and the thoughtfulness and the fact that they really care about their family really moved me in a great way. So I'm really just impressed by what Troy is doing with Young Men for Christ. This is a great organization, a great nonprofit, and I just wish them a lot of luck as they continue with the work. This is so needful, especially in our communities of color, where we see our young men either being victimized or victimizing other people. We've got to really push programs like this that have positive affirmations about who they are, who they're going to be, and how they're going to make a difference in the community. For programming like this for our young men, we really need to do it. We need to get the word out so people know what is going on and that they will continue to support efforts like this.
Mingle with the angels, heaven's in my peripheral, I see it from an angle.
We're back on the Bro Code Show. We've got Chief of Police of Raleigh, North Carolina, Stella Patterson, sitting right here. Now, Chief, we've asked a whole lot of questions. We went back and forth about purpose, talking about what you love to do and shopping, even though your husband doesn't really get with that. I get it. As a married man, I get it. But we have one more segment, and this segment right here is called Flip the Script. Right? Now it's your turn to ask us anything that you like. Now, you can ask us individually or collectively. The mic is yours.
Yes, I like this segment. So my question, I'm going to ask each of you this question, just as you asked me, why Raleigh? Why did you come to Raleigh? What was the decision behind working in Raleigh?
Well, we always start on the end, so we just work our way back.
That's me, huh? Yeah. So I moved to Raleigh in 2009. I'm from Michigan, and my son was 16 at the time. Really getting into a lot of stuff, and it was either remove him or who knows. So I Googled best 5 cities. Raleigh was number 3, and we moved here. We actually stayed in a hotel for about 4 months.
Wow.
And we've been here for 12 years. But Raleigh changed my life. It opened me up to so many things. I met these 2 brothers and our team, and it's just changed my life. So I love Raleigh.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Love to hear that.
Yeah.
For me, I went to NC State. 2000, 2004, the first stint, and then 2009 to 2011, the second, and I just didn't want to leave. I'm from Jersey originally, and once you're down in the South for an extended period of time, you don't really feel the inclination to want to go back up north and deal with the winters and all the other stuff. And this area kind of felt like home, so I felt like I had a little bit of my East Orange, brick city type environment in Raleigh. Now, Raleigh's cleaned itself up quite well since, but it's ripe with all sorts of things to get involved with.
Nice to know.
I've always been a Rolling Stone. The reason I asked you earlier about what was one of your dopest or favorite places as far as traveling, is because I've traveled as well. So I've always wanted to go here, there, and everywhere, but it was through marriage that got me to Raleigh.
Oh, okay. Chasing a woman. Got you to Raleigh.
There you go. My wife is from Goldsboro, and I was working at an organization with Bro Smith, and coming back stateside and wanting to live that monogamous lifestyle and give it my all. That's how I ended up in Raleigh, and been here ever since. We've been here now, at least about 12 years. We started in Cary and then ended up in Raleigh for the last 9. Yeah.
All right, interesting. Okay, the next question I have for you.
You got more. So you ready? Okay. I thought we got off easy. That was easy.
The second question is always the
that easy, right?
This is gonna be easy for you too, because I know this is your passion. So, why young men? Is there a particular age group that you like working most with, and if so, why?
High school for me. I'll say high school. However, I work with youth at Southeast Raleigh Elementary. I work with men at church. So it's all the same. Like, it's just people, right? But high school is my sweet spot because they're just about that place where they're about to go into the real world and get smacked by all the stuff that they don't understand. And so catching them and spending time with them, and like you said, being in proximity with them, that's my sweet spot for me.
For me, it's probably the 7 to 12 range. I've had the pleasure of doing a couple global mission trips and leading some vacation Bible schools, and I just love that age because they're young enough to know better, but not too old to where they know too much. Yeah. If that makes any sense, they're young enough to listen to you, and you can have a more fun, so to speak, just playing all sorts of games and really connecting with that particular age before they get 13 and don't want to listen and is glued to their phone. So that would be the age for me.
Okay, and they're very influential at that age too.
Yes, mine is the same. Late elementary, middle school. Middle is that path, right? They're in the middle for a reason, really understanding where they want to go, the choices that they make. So yeah, I work very well in that age group. And I think that's why we work together so well, right? We cover all of those bases. But even through the work we've done outside of grade school, we've went to postgraduate, right? From 18 to 25, and again, working with adult males as well. So, but for me, yeah, if I could travel in that space, late elementary and middle school.
Okay, sounds good. I love it. Last question I have for you, and flipping the script, is if you were a police officer, what kind of officer would you be?
Don't start down here. Wow.
Where in the police department would you work, and what kind of officer would you be?
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
I'm a detective. Like I want to do the detective work. Not every day on the road. Nah, I can't do that. I can't be pulling people over. But detective for me.
But you would be detective. Okay.
For sure.
All right.
I think I know what Jay would do. I'm gonna let him go though, but I think I know what he would do.
Really?
Yeah.
SRO?
Nah,
I wouldn't be an SRO. That's a good question. I'm trying to think of it myself. It might be forensics. Or working with the K9s.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I would.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You're going to be the K9.
More than likely.
That just makes me laugh on so many levels. I was thinking that picture at one time.
More than likely to be the K9 unit. I foster dogs. I had a foster that I wound up adopting, and then, but I was about 6-7 dogs deep at the time, and so yeah, it would be the K9.
All day. I already knew he was going to say that. I don't even know why he thought about it. He's going to work with the dogs. I already know he's going to work with the dogs. I would be SRO.
SRO, yes.
I would be SRO,
okay. In the schools with the kids.
Yeah, man. That reflective representation, man, and really getting them to understand another side. Perspective matters, and really sharing that lens and being intentional, and making a difference where my passion lies in the first place. I definitely would probably be SRO.
Wow, and I love to hear that, especially when we have conversation and when members of the community says that we need to take cops out of schools. It's essential to have our officers in the schools for the reasons you said, to serve as mentors, to serve for leadership, to be able to connect with our young people. So again, when they see a cop, they're comfortable with the officer and not feeling like, this is going to be a bad encounter, a bad situation. It really humanizes, I think, the officer when they're in the schools and for the young people to see them.
Indeed.
All right.
I got to ask. I will say this. I appreciate that. We've been asked some very candid questions before, but thank you. I appreciate that. I think we got one more segment, fellas, right? We do got one more. And it's called Call It Out. So this segment right here, Chief, have you had a good time?
Yes. The conversation has been rich.
You appreciate the bro code experience?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'm curious, Chief, if there are individuals in your network that are high caliber individuals that would enjoy this same experience, this bro code experience, if you could think of those individuals, I want you to look in that camera right there and let them know that they need to come on the bro code show.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm thinking of 3 people in particular. The first one being my boss, the city manager of Raleigh, North Carolina, Marshall Adams David. This woman is just awesome to see a sister in a position where she is running the entire city of Raleigh. She is devoted to making sure that the budget is on point, make sure that she's meeting the needs of our council member, our mayors. I don't think this woman sleeps. Every time I text her, call her, she's answering her phone, she's responding, she's going, and she keeps it all together so well. I admire her. I just think that she's just doing an awesome job for this city. Every time I drive into Raleigh, I said, there is a woman that's really running this city. I mean, you have her, you also have the mayor, but she is making sure that the affairs of Raleigh is being taken care of. So definitely shouts out to her and somebody that needs to come on the bro code.
Right here.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
The second person I'm going to say is somebody who mentored me, really helped me to get to this position where I am right here. And that is my former boss, my former police chief, Johnny Jennings in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've known Chief Jennings for many years, but it was the last 4 years, I would say the last 3 years actually, where I really connected with him. He really served as a mentor, helping me to get to this position where I have having confidence in me and my abilities. Even sometimes when I didn't have the confidence, he was there to say, Stella, yeah, you need to do this. You're ready for the next step. He was just been so instrumental, and he's somebody I can call at any time. He's another one of those kind of like Marshall, where I can pick up the phone or I can text him, and it doesn't matter. Whatever I do, he will respond to me, and I just love that. And he always ends the conversation by saying, well, hurry up, Stella, because I got to get to church. Knowing that he ain't never been inside a church. He ain't going to no church. But he just says that. He's just that kind of person with a great sense of humor. And the last person, of course, that I would invite onto this show is none other than my mother. Miss Sephirina Holder, who has made such an impact and such a difference in my life. She was my best friend growing up. And even as my mother now, she is just my biggest cheerleader, biggest supporter, there for me always. Now, you guys say y'all going to Charlotte. Now, she's in Charlotte. Chief Jennings is in Charlotte. So when y'all get to Charlotte, please look them up and encourage them to come on to the Broad Code. They're going to love it, being a guest on your show.
Wow, I'm really kind of taken back. Yeah, that you would want Mom Dukes on our show.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I'm taken back by that. Mom Dukes, hey, on the Broad Code show, let's do it. We're coming to Queen City, indeed. Well, we want to celebrate you, and just like anyone else we would do that comes on the show, we want to let you know that we appreciate you. So we got something. Oh, Kurt, what you got?
Absolutely. So all of us come together with different brands. One of my brands is called You Matter. And it's something that I wear everywhere I go typically. In a way, it just bringing people together and making each individual understand how important they are. So we've adopted the $2 bill challenge. And so on your bill, it says your word, leadership. We've all signed up from the Bro Code show, and it says you matter. So we really appreciate, first of all, what you've done so far, but what you're going to do. So this is for you.
All right. Indeed. My crisp $2
That's
bill.
it,
All right now.
Different, right? It's rare. It's unique.
Don't try to take my $2 from me. Keep your hands off of it. This is my $2 right here. Thank you so much. Thank you for acknowledging me. Letting me know that I matter. That means so much to me. And then my word, leadership. This is what I live by right here. So thank you for this. This is an honor.
Indeed. It was an honor to have an opportunity to come and talk and really see the human side of you. Smile and laugh, right? See the Panamanian in you, right? The true Panamanian, right? Indeed. Well, we always close the show the same way with a quote. And tonight's no different. One of the words that resonated and what was your word was leadership. So tonight's no different. Tonight's quote says, leadership is an action, not a position. It's your boy, Bro Troy, Bro Smith, Kirk, and we are the Bro Code. That was up too. Anyway.
Nice. Wow.
I be spreading the message on the corner where the thugs be. And Rock said, be careful when the world start to love me. I've been getting recognition. A lot of starting to work.
For tomorrow, you ain't promised today. Or could you walk on water if you don't stand on faith? It's like I'm going through circles. I'm in that same old place. I see you closing the curtains, but I got something to say. Stand up. I mean, I just don't get it. As if they can't see you making the way. City lights, what up? He's preparing the way. City lights, what up? How could you live for tomorrow if you ain't promised today? Or could you walk on water if you don't stand on faith? It's like I'm going through circles. I'm in that same old place. I see you closing.
The Bro Code TV show was created to amplify the voices of others and share courageous stories of community leaders, organizations, and businesses that are doing great things. Every Wednesday night at 7 p.m., you can catch Bro Troy, Bro Kirk, and Bro Smith for another courageous conversation. You can find those conversations on our YouTube channel at Bro Code TV Productions, and also our audio podcast channels, which are on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts at The Bro Code Show. Tap in to the Bro Code experience. We all we got.